And we've seen some of the big names that are already trading publicly take some hits regarding cannabis, marijuana. But it's always been with the understanding that this would be explosive growth. Are we now at the end of that narrative?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we saw these the trends on the horizon about a year ago. It's if you go back to the tech days, it's the whole irrational exuberance. It's a hot new industry, and I think people got a little excited, and the companies got excited, and they made some dumb moves. And a lot of when there's a lot of money involved and a lot of hype, this can happen. The long-term potential is fantastic, but there's some problems right now.
But what about the startups? Because they're still in their fundraising rounds, their B, C, D rounds. I mean, are they going to have trouble getting the funds they need to survive into the next uptick?
There's been some softness in the financing climate for cannabis companies in general because of largely what's going on in Canada, where you're seeing that bubble kind of start to pop up there. But there's more financing than ever available for cannabis companies right now. So it's becoming a little bit harder, but it's still better than it's ever been.
I mean, the big question is, Chris, that the public companies are in Canada, the real marijuana companies, and the real ones are not here.
Yep.
Right? When is that going to happen?
You've seen some companies here go public in Canada because it's federally legal up there. The big problem is that it's not federally legal here, so it's really going to take a change in the laws, maybe as much as changing the banking situation.
That's up right now, isn't it? It passed the House, but it hasn't passed the Senate yet.
Yeah, and there's still big hurdles for that, but some significant federal change will open up the doors for the companies here to go public, and then we'll see how that plays out.
So, Chris, my question is about long-term profitability, because if you think about a product that goes from being regulated to not being regulated, there is a window where a lot of capital can be thrown at it, but if it becomes, in a sense, a generic product, how much pricing power do any of these companies have? And in the end, today, do you want to put money into a company that may have no pricing power down the road because there's no barriers to entry when you don't have it regulated?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of verticals in this industry. So there's cultivation, which could become a commodity, and then you're going to see some issues there if you can't be a mass producer. And then you've got retail, though, and you've also got processing and products, and then you've got companies that don't touch the plant and provide services. So it really depends on the sector. But we think it's going to evolve more like the alcohol industry. So you might have the big Budweisers, and then you're going to have craft cultivators.
But isn't it sort of more like the tomato business? Like, in other words, because you can buy tomatoes at the store, but you also grow them in your backyard. So that puts a limit on the growth, right?
Not really.
And
I think
the profitability.
Right.
Again, there's so many other things that you will do with this that get the profitability, like the infused products, like the cookies and the candies and the drinks.
I could cookies.
The edibles.
Yeah.
But the oils, that's a little too, that's above
Right.
grade, pay grade.
Give us a time horizon. So we have a bit of a slowdown.
Yeah.
When do you expect the slowdown to turn back into an increase? 1, 5 years?
On the investing side?
On the investing side, or even on the sales side, the revenue side for these companies?
Yeah, I mean, the revenue side in general for the industry is still rocketing, and it's our projections are that it's substantial growth this year, particularly in the U.S. You've got new states coming online like Illinois with recreational, so there's a lot of growth coming up. There's just some pains in a new industry, and some of them are severe. Some companies will fall to the wayside, but I think we'll move through this period fairly quickly in the next year or so. A lot of it again is based in Canada.
Okay. Chris Walsh, Marijuana Business Daily founding editor and president. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.